Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Hockenberry. It's a thrill to be here with you. It's a thrill to follow the police commissioner, Commissioner Bratton, and Canaletta. Those two guys look way too good, okay? And then Eric Holder's coming out after us, and he looks fantastic. I think I saw the three of them coming out of the Olympic-sized pool downstairs, so I don't know if that has something to do with it. We just saw some very disturbing images, and we've been talking about some amazing things all day today. Take the hand of the person next to you and think about this for a moment. This is not about policy. We are not here to think about policy. We are here because this is a sacred space. This is a sacred space because people are grieving. People are grieving for loved ones, and you're going to hear about them in this panel. People are grieving for principles. People are grieving for lost communities. People are grieving for a lost sense of the rule of law. And it's that we're all trying to get back. This is a sacred space. And with that sense of empowerment, let's proceed. Ada Pantoja, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Great, great. You intersected with a gun in your life, and it changed you forever in many different ways. When did a gun come into your life, and what were the circumstances?
It was a couple of years ago. So my story, I love to call it ride or die.
You call it what?
I call it ride or die.
Ride or die.
So I was with my boyfriend at the time, and he took care of me and he took care of my kids. So because he did that, I was there by his side all the time. So we dropped off my kids after my daughter's basketball game, dropped them off, went with him to go down the street, go see his people, his customers, picked up two people, didn't know they were being followed. So detectives followed us, and he didn't put on his turning signal, so they stopped us, took us out the car, searched us.
And when you say customers, he was involved in the drug trade?
Yes, he was.
Right, and you knew that?
Yes, I did.
You were aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
So they searched us, they found drugs on me, they arrested him for driving with a suspended license and on probation. Searched the car for 45 minutes. As soon as they put him inside the car to take him into custody, they pulled back the passenger seat of the car where I was sitting, where I wasn't supposed to be sitting. I was always the driver because I was a female. So because I was a female, you know, they wouldn't suspect nothing. They pulled back the passenger seat, and there went a 9mm that I did not know about.
And how did that change the way a simple, what do I know about simple, drug arrest became something very, very different?
They arrested me on the scene because of the gun, no questions asked. I was on a $68,000 bail that night, so I couldn't go home to my kids. Went to court, got held in custody for 5 months and 10 days waiting for fingerprints to come back, saying that I never was involved with the gun.
And the story, and it's a true story, is that it was his gun, not your gun.
Yes.
And your contact with the gun had only to do with the fact that you were sitting in that seat.
Yes.
It was not something you'd ever shot or used.
No, but because I was that girlfriend that was the ride or die, I never said nothing. So he told me that he was my ride or die and I was his. So
it was your obligation to take the fall here.
Not my obligation. He said he would just ride out with him and everything would be okay. Until we almost got into trial, and he threw me under the bus and told his lawyer that everything in the car was mine.
So you were the drug trafficker.
I was a drug trafficker.
You were the owner of the 9mm.
Yes, and I was looking at 20 years in jail.
And at that point, try to convey to the audience here how powerless you felt.
I felt like if I was the bottom of the barrel. I already felt bad because I was not next to my kids for 5 months and 10 days of their life. My kids got separated, and I would talk to them every 2 weeks. And my baby, still to this day, is always worried when I leave. I got out of jail, ended up with no apartment. I'm in a shelter now. I've been in a shelter for 3 years and 3 months. going back to school, because while I was incarcerated, held on bail, I decided to sit down and think about things.
All right, before we get to that, because this is the best part of the story, how you thought about things in a way that I can't imagine thinking about things. But take us into that moment where you'd made some bad decisions, sure, but suddenly the system, because of the presence of the gun, didn't care about your regret over bad decisions, your willingness to seek justice and participate in the justice system. The presence of the gun there meant done, door slammed,
Yes.
life over.
Yes.
How did that feel, knowing that you were maybe, possibly a part of this, but the gun made it impossible to even make your own case?
At the time, okay. At the time, okay, because he told me everything would be okay. And then I finally realized that it was not going to be okay.
How many women are in your situation, do you think?
Plenty. More than the audience's hands full right now.
And these are women who are stuck in a situation where they're essentially partners in a criminal activity, and if a gun is present, and if their partner suddenly decides to throw them under the bus, it's over.
Yes, it is over.
When did you become an activist, and how did it occur to you to go from powerlessness to the activism that you're involved with today?
Okay, so I have a wonderful 13-year-old who her name is Diamante. And after I came home, we live in Boston, so it's the MBTA. So we would be on the MBTA, and she would see the signs on the trains. And there's I can't even say the name right, post board?
Yeah.
And it says, his crime, your time. And my daughter would always stand up in front of everybody and say, look, mommy, there you go. And I always do that face. What are you doing to me right now? And so she would always do that.
Oh, 13-year-olds, you know?
Yes.
I've got 2 of them.
So you know my feeling.
Yeah.
And I had, I was working at the time with a former job, and I knew my now boss, Jackie Furtado, and I knew her for a year and a half, and I finally came out and had the guts to tell her my problem, tell her my situation.
And basically, in the MBTA, your 13-year-old pointed out to you that there's a way for you to advocate, along with other women, for this, you don't do the time if it's his crime.
Yes.
And that became, what I have to say, is the best acronym I've ever heard in my life. Your organization is called?
Operation Lipstick.
And Lipstick stands for?
Lipstick stands for Ladies Involved into Putting a Stop to Inner City Killing, which Jackie Furtado named.
And in that role as a lipstick activist, what do you do, and how do you change things, and what's your message?
My message is to tell all the ladies out there to please not listen to your boyfriend, whatever it is, boyfriend, man, I don't care what he is. Just don't listen, because you don't want to lose your house, you don't want to lose your kids, and you don't want to start all over again, like me. I am still trying to get housing, I'm still trying to do everything as I can, and I'm fighting for all my stuff back.
Are we a violent nation, Ada? Are we a nation that sort of made a wrong turn somewhere? What do you see in all the headlines and the policy people and the politicians speaking about gun violence and the president talking? I mean, you're there in the foxhole, on the front line.
We're trying to get it back. We're working very hard to get it back.
So from grieving for lost lives, lost communities, a lost sense of justice, you have hope.
Yes, I have hope.
Ada Pantoja, thank you very much.